I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep fitting in.
What's going on, people? We are back in the building. Guys, as always, please make sure you do smash that like button for me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. So why are we back here? We're back here today. Now, if you watched my video yesterday, we went through my 10 favorite goalkeepers of all time, since obviously I started watching football in like the mid 90s. There was a few surprise choices in there. I have to admit, there were a few choices that even I was like, right, you know what? I actually really did like this goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? So I can understand if some of you, looked at him for bloody hell. And again, just to let you guys know, this isn't a ranking system. I'm not ranking the keepers. It's just, or I'm not ranking the players, should I say. It's just players that over time that I've just taken a liking to, whether that be because they, were part of my own team. Maybe there was a moment in time, certain things might have happened during that period of time. So yeah, that was kind of the thinking behind it. Today, we're taking a look at defenders now. So with the defenders, I couldn't be bothered to group them into separate, I won't lie to you. So it's left back, centre back, and right backs that over time. Otherwise, we could be here for 20 episodes, and I don't want to bore, you guys with that. So yeah, I've grouped them all together: left backs, centre backs, and right backs. As I said, I think this one's going to be pretty good. But you know what? Let's just get into it, and let's start off with number 1, Fernando Hierro. Real Madrid legend, absolute legend. I started, from what I can remember of him, maybe the late 90s. Now obviously I'm a Barcelona, that's like my second team. Been following them probably since 97, 98 kind of thing. And obviously, of course, with Barcelona, there comes Real Madrid. And it's funny because I heard of Real Madrid before I'd even heard of a Barcelona. That's because of the history of a Real Madrid. But when we think about someone like Fernando Hierro, I just always felt that he was what epitomized, being a centre back, and he was what epitomized Real Madrid. Even the way he looked in the kits, I used to think the kit just suits him. You know what I mean? There's no, it's not baggy on him. It doesn't feel like, he shouldn't be wearing the kit. No, it felt like he was, the leader, at the back of, that team and everything like that. And again, been at Real Madrid, he started out at Valladolid first, and then of course moved on to Real Madrid since 89-90 season. Phenomenal defender, spent years at Real Madrid, won numerous of honors, won the La Liga, the Copa del Rey, won the Champions League a couple of good times. This guy, absolutely amazing. FIFA World Cup All-Star team, he was included in that. UEFA Club Defender of the Year, he was included in that. FIFA 11, he's been in there 3 times, 3 years in a row from 96 to 98. Absolutely phenomenal defender, man. And that's just kind of how I remember him, throughout his time, for Real Madrid. Hence why I said, you know what? I don't like Real Madrid that much, I'll be honest with you. As I said, I do support, Barcelona. But, definitely thinking about him. And then again, of course, he moved to Bolton Wanderers, during that kind of era where they had like Ivan Campo, Hierro, JJ Kocha, Jokaev, Anelka. Listen, Bolton, that team definitely has to go into like the archives. I might even have to do a video just on Bolton alone because, that period of time was absolutely crazy, with the kind of players that they had, playing under Sam Allardyce and stuff like that. Yeah. And even when he was at Bolton, I always felt like, you know what, he's still a good defender. Even though he's obviously getting on a bit with age and stuff like that, which is obviously going to be understandable. But that was the last club, that he chose to play for. Spanish international, of course, 89 appearances, got 29 goals actually, which is pretty good for a centre-back, if I'm being totally honest with you. Yeah, honestly, phenomenal defender. And I feel like someone who's kind of worthy to, be in that list. Let's go to the next one. Marcel Desailly. Ghanaian, played for France, but, Ghanaian heritage. Again, another top defender that I remember. Of course, I remember him from his time at Chelsea. And I used to always think, you know, when you look around teams and stuff like that, and there's always going to be like maybe like one, especially back in the day, I used to always look at him and think there's always one player from each team that you kind of like. He was always the one. Of course, France international, won the World Cup with France as well. He was a phenomenal, defender. And it's so crazy because even doing history and when you look back on some of these players' careers and stuff like that, I mean, this is a guy played for Marseille, played for AC Milan. It's not like he was just out here doing nothing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? He's won his honors at Chelsea, won, honors at AC Milan, won the Champions League at both Marseille and AC Milan. Not many players are able to do that at two different clubs, kind of thing. Obviously, as I mentioned with France, he won the World Cup, won the European Championships, Confederations Cup. This is an esteemed centre-back. Like, this is honestly a really good centre-back. In 98, he was voted in the World Cup team of the All-Star team, Euro 2000 team of the tournament as well, FIFA 100 player, AC Milan Hall of Famer. And that's crazy because obviously at the time when I'm watching him at Chelsea, I didn't even know all of this. So I'm just watching this guy thinking, yo, this is a sick centre-back. Do you know what I mean? This is actually a really, really good centre-back. How Chelsea, when I look back now, how Chelsea were able to get him. Again, I don't know the reasons as to why he's obviously moved there. I just remember him. And it's so funny, this picture. It's like I remember him in this kit, especially in that 98 World Cup and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, definitely a defender that I really, really, really liked. Let's move on to the next one. Sol Campbell. Listen, when I was younger, and like I mentioned before, I played in defense. I played kind of almost everywhere, but when I used to play a little bit in defense as a centre back, one of the players I used to, like the manager would say, try and, because I was fast and strong and stuff like that, be like Sol Campbell. Trying, and of course you're young, man, so I'm not probably, if I was a bit like, if it's like now, for example, and you ask me to try and read the game and take some time out to learn what this player does and what that player does, then yeah, I would do that. But I wasn't doing that back then. But I watched a lot of Sol Campbell, of course, coming from Tottenham Hotspur, to then move to Arsenal, part of the Invincible team. He was a phenomenal centre-back, man. And as I mentioned, him being strong and fast, I don't even think that was just it. Positionally, this guy was so good. And he just felt like, again, he was a rock at the back. Like, you could not really get past someone like him. And he was a threat, also in both goals, played for England as well. He was a really, really good defender. Really, really good defender, man. I think when we're having these conversations and when people talk about like the best centre-back, of in the Premier League era anyway, and even, to be honest, even of all time, like if you want to say all around Europe as an example, yeah, I feel like he should get brought into a lot more conversations. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel like he gets brought in enough into some of these conversations, but he definitely deserves to be so. Definitely as a kid watching this guy, I just thought, yeah, especially a part of that, invincible defense, I definitely looked at him and thought, yeah, he's a top centre-back. He's genuinely a top centre-back. But, it is what it is. Looking at his, his awards, with Arsenal, of course, winning the Premier League twice, FA Cup. Tottenham, he won the League Cup in 98, 99. Portsmouth, remember when Portsmouth had all of those players, Diarra, Sol Campbell, Jermaine Defoe, Peter Crouch, Cranker, like, again, Portsmouth and Bolton. Maybe those are two teams I'm going to have to do a little bit of a throwback Thursday type of vibe with these guys because, yeah, those are teams I definitely remember. But yeah, listen, esteemed player, won the European Under-19 Championships with England back in 93 as well. Won the Toulon tournament in 94 with the Under-21s, PFA Team of the Year, World Cup All-Star team as well. So alongside Marcel Desailly, and European Championship team of the tournament in 04. Listen, top defender, man. Really, really good defender. Let's move on to the next one. One of my favorite defenders of all time, and for obvious reasons, of course, because the managed by, played for the team that, I supported, or I support, should I say, and that is Gerard Piqué. I think Gerard Piqué is one of the best centre-backs to play football, in my personal opinion. And I think that's obviously going to be more biased because of the way that Barcelona played. So I like, the fact that he was so integral to that as well in terms of defensively. And again, you're talking about a ball-playing centre-back, but also a guy who can actually, if needed, really get down and dirty. You know what I mean? He could really, really do that kind of game if needed be, kind of thing. And I felt like him at the back there, it was such a great partnership that he would have had with a Puyol, because it was almost, we kind of see it now with like a Van Dijk. We're always saying, Van Dijk, he's the cool, calm one, but he can defend when he's needed, in the defense. But then you've got someone like a Konate as an example, who's a bit more of a brute, who's a bit more going to, really get into challenges. That kind of combination I feel always will work. I don't feel like it's gonna always work. Not to say it can't, but I just feel like it works when you've got kind of polar opposites almost, together, in defense. And with PK, phenomenal defender, man. This guy, he's won so many trophies with Barcelona. It's ridiculous. Team of the year, breakthrough player of the year. Remember, he played for Manchester United as well. He's in the La Liga team of the season, UEFA La Liga team of the season, European Championship team of the tournament. Obviously, that's, Spain won that. Team of the year, UEFA team of the year, he's won that. I mean, he's been in that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 5 times. FIFA Pro World 11, he's been in there a good few times. And then, of course, his accolades with Spain, winning the World Cup, winning the European Championships. Absolutely phenomenal defender, man. Definitely one who deserves to be, again, considered when we're doing a rankings. He has to be considered, in my opinion, up there. Let's go to the next one. We'll look at a fullback, and that is John Arne Riise. Big up Ish, because he will know exactly why. Of course, being left-footed, so there's going to be a bit of bias, in regards to that. But I always felt John Arne Riise was a top player. Like, his type of playing style, and he was part of that kind of era where, like, things have got to start from somewhere, right? Like when we look at like a Trent, or you look at a Robertson, Alphonso Davies, Hakimi, and all these kind of guys, right? John Arne Riise had to walk so these guys could run. Did you get what I'm trying to say? Like, and he was doing it during a period of time when there was no emphasis on, fullbacks. We're not looking for our fullbacks to score goals and to, get assists and stuff like that. Take a free kick, John Arne Riise can do that. Pile driver into the net. We remember his goal, for Liverpool against Manchester United. Like, that's the kind of thing that John Arne Riise was all about, and that's what I really, really liked, about him. But he was obviously just a strong runner down that left-hand side. Played for Liverpool for years, moved on to Roma, played for Fulham. I just always felt he was a really, 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 really good player, good left-back. And, playing for Monaco as well, won the Division 1 title for them. He was just solid. He was honestly just a really, really solid fullback, and I always liked him. Like, I was annoyed when he left. Like, I really was annoyed. I was like, do we really need to let him go, kind of thing? And of course, Liverpool have got Robertson now. But I'll be honest, if you ask me to choose between prime Robbo, prime John Arne Riise, I feel like I'm going prime Riise all the time. I feel like he offers me both. Defensively, he was solid. You know what I mean? He was good in the tackle, but so is Robbo. But going forward, I feel like he's better. I feel like if he played in today's game, where the emphasis is we need you to get assists, I feel like he can do that. I honestly feel like John Arne Riise could actually do that. I don't feel like, it would be too much of a problem, so to speak. He scored 31 goals for Liverpool as well. Like, nah, man, he, in his first season, he scored 8 goals in all competitions. That's in his first season. 2 seasons in a row, actually. In his first 2 seasons, played 56 games. Like, 57 games, I think, is the most he's ever played, 2004, 2005. When we reached the Champions League final. Like, this guy was an engine, man. He was really, really an engine. So I was disappointed, of course, when he left Liverpool, because, again, I really, really liked the player. But, it is what it is. Let's move on to the next one. Probably one of the GOATed players. And it's got to be Roberto Carlos, man. Roberto Carlos. Like, I don't care if you like football or not. When you think about certain players, and if I just told you about, like, left backs, and you had to just name a bunch of left backs, he's definitely one of them that you're naming. He's definitely one that you've seen growing up. In fact, even if the only thing you've seen is that goal he scored against France, that swerve free kick, yeah, that's Roberto Carlos. Playing for Real Madrid, obviously top defender. Played for years for Real Madrid as well. And, there was a reason behind that. There was a reason behind that. Of course, played for Inter Milan for 1 season before moving to Real Madrid. His accolades is just done, but it's just more about his playing style, man. He was just, it helps because he was a part of that Brazil squad, the one that we've all kind of grown up to kind of know, the Ronaldos, Ronaldinhos, Kakas, him and Cafu on either side, perfect fullbacks, man. absolutely perfect fullbacks. They were wingbacks before I even knew what a wingback was. Did you get what I'm trying to say? And again, just like John Arne Riise can do both jobs, can get forward. He's got a bit more flair about him. Again, it's the Brazilian in him. I see him doing tricks and stuff like that, but just a phenomenal player throughout his entire time of playing football. Of course, moved on then to like Fenerbahce and stuff like that afterwards. But when we're just talking about him in general, I don't really know what else I can even say, about this guy. Won a World Cup already. He's won a Copa America. He came bronze in the Summer Olympics in '96 individual awards. He's won the UEFA Club Defender of the Year, UEFA Team of the Year, Ballon d'Or. He came second in 2002, which is crazy for a left back. Crazy, because I don't know any left back, in my opinion, who would maybe finish that. And well, no, that's a lie. There is one, and we'll get onto that one very, very soon. But yeah, outside of these two left backs, I don't know many other left backs in the history of the game. If I even just say, let's just even make it smaller and just say in the last like 30 years, that I would have considered to be, yeah, he could win a Ballon d'Or potentially. Like if his performances pattern up, like they're good enough to do so. So yeah, that kind of testament to someone like Roberto Carlos. Let's move on to next. Philipp Lahm. Philipp Lahm. What can I say about this guy, man? Mr. can do everything. He can literally do everything. I remember watching, he was one of the first defenders I saw growing up anyway, who could play both sides. Obviously, I know Dennis Irwin could do that as well, but could play both sides, but play both sides so well that you almost didn't know if he was a left back or a right back early on in his career, should I say. Not so much, of course, as he got older, but earlier on in his career, that's how I kind of looked at someone like a Philipp Lahm. I remember him mostly, at the beginning stages of watching him when he was playing for Germany. Again, I remember him during like some of these World Cup campaigns. Again, he just always felt like he was a player who could just do everything. Like defensively, he was just solid in every possible way, and it just felt like when he then moved into that midfield position, he just took to it like a duck takes to water. Like it was just mad. It was just mad, and he just felt like comfortable left back, right back, DM. He could do that passing range. Like he just literally he was like a complete footballer, so to speak. In terms of, if I needed to create someone who was like just I'd say midfielder, because but a midfielder who can play in defense, he's the guy. Like you make someone like him, that you have to create him, because he can play fullback, no problem. He could probably play centre back if you needed him, to do so, but can play in that DM or central midfield position and wouldn't look out of place. In fact, he'd probably be one of the best players on the pitch in those kind of positions. Yo, listen, man, growing up watching Philipp Lahm, that was an absolute joy. I mean, he's come 6th place in the Ballon d'Or before, UEFA Ultimate Team of the Year, European Championships, all-time 11, published in 2016. He was named in that. Ballon d'Or Dream Team, didn't even know what that was, but he was bronze. FIFA Pro World 11, second team, third team, and fourth team he's been named in. FIFA Pro World 11, first team, he's been named in that twice. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's so much. Like UEFA European Championship Team of the Tournament, World Cup Dream Team, World Cup All-Star Team. Like this guy has done the most. He's done absolutely the most. He's obviously won a World Cup with Germany as well, which is fully deserved. And of course, he's won himself a Champions League. So he's done everything. He really has done everything with his beloved Germany and Bayern Munich. And listen, just throughout the years, I just always felt this is a top, professional. Next up, we've got Rio Ferdinand. One of the best centre-backs I've seen in the Premier League era. Definitely one of the best centre-backs. I think he was the one for me when I'm talking about for England. He was the one, if you're going to pair, I would always say maybe you pair someone like a Rio Ferdinand with, say, someone like, Sol Campbell. And I don't think it would be necessarily, it wouldn't look out of place. Because you can play Rio there, cool, calm, and collected, solid defender when he needed to be. Of course, I remember him actually at West Ham, watching him kind of come through there. In fact, I remember him so much at West Ham. I remember playing Championship Manager back in the day, and obviously he was a young kid playing there for West Ham. And I remember he could play in DM position. And I remember thinking to myself, right, this DM is all right. Do you know what I mean? Like this defensive midfielder is actually pretty good. So yeah, top player. I don't think anyone would disagree with someone like Rio Ferdinand. And of course, he gets placed in all of these conversations, for a reason. If you look at his resume is absolutely stupid. if I go through it, you guys can, of course, you can see it, for yourself. Hammer of the Year, he was named in 97, 98. PFA Premier League Team of the Year, he was named in that way too many times. FIFA Pro World 11, named in that. England Hall of Fame in 2016 inductee. Listen, man, Premier League Hall of Fame as well last year. This guy, top centre back, man. Played for Leeds United, of course, as well, and was actually, I think, went on loan to Bournemouth. So yeah, man, had a good career. Played for QPR at the end as well. So listen, man, top international, top international. Can't say much more about Rio Ferdinand. Carlos Puyol. I mean, I said it before with the Gerard Piqué thing. Those two, best combination I've seen in a minute. Best combination. You've literally got the brute, the leader, the leader of the pack in Carlos Puyol, and his sidekick was always going to be Gerard Piqué, and that's not even to discredit someone like Gerard Piqué, because he was fantastic in his own right. But Puyol was literally, if I could bottle up, what he had in terms of mentality and leadership, that's what you'd give to people. There are certain players out there that if I could bottle up a bit about them, like a James Milner, if I could bottle up, his professionalism, I'd put that in a bottle. Carlos Puyol, leadership and mentality, that's definitely, the player that I'd be looking at. Won a World Cup, won a World Cup, European Championships, La Ligas, Champions Leagues. This guy has done a lot of things, for football. And he's always been named in, these World 11s, best defenders, FIFA Pro 11, European Championship Team of the Tournament, World Cup All-Star Team, World Cup Dream Team, World 11s for the team of the 21st century. There's a reason why he goes in there, because it's not always going to be about the pretty stuff with someone like a Puyol. Guess what? He can do the one thing that I guess it's very difficult for some of these defenders to do now, which is just bloody defend. But remember, he's defending in a team. Of course, they've got the most possession, give or take 10 times out of 10. So that's going to help, quite a lot of the time. But at the back there, not everybody's going to be the same, as somewhere like a Barcelona. Like, you will need someone who can have that mentality. If we're losing in a game, can't just all be about the pretty stuff. We need a hard man back in there. And when you come up against certain teams, having a player like Puyol, I felt like would always be a good thing, more than it being a negative. And listen, man, phenomenal defender. Now we're on to our last one. Last but not least, Ashley Cole. You knew I was going to do this, and he had to be on that list. Fantastic. The best Premier League left back, in my opinion. Don't think there's anyone better than him. I don't care about assists. I don't care about goals. He is the undisputed number one left back. Of course, Arsenal legend. Whether they want to agree with that, I don't know. I would also technically even call him potentially a Chelsea legend as well. The fact that I could even call it for both. Again, remains to be seen how you want to see that. But I mean, for a guy who won a Europa League, Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup at Chelsea, and then won the Premier League, FA Cup, and was a Champions League, obviously, runner-up at Arsenal, can't see how he can't be. I actually can't see. Chelsea and Arsenal fans can argue between themselves. I get all of that. But if I'm just looking from the outside in, to me, he's a legend of both clubs. I can't see how he couldn't, be. And he spent a considerable amount of time, at both clubs as well. So I would definitely be calling him that, if I'm being totally honest. What more can we say about him? You can laugh about certain things about him, and people will do that, in terms of whatever they want to call him, since he did make that move to Chelsea. It made sense though. Why wouldn't you? Like, sometimes we have to take ourselves out from being football fans, and I think, like, as fans, sometimes we get too bogged down into what we want, not understanding that it's not our career, it's their career. And if that's what they want to do, that's just what it is that they kind of want to do, if I'm being honest with you. PFA Teams of the Year, UEFA Team of the Year, England Player of the Year, Chelsea Goal of the Season, which is crazy. Premier League Hall of Fame, obviously he was inducted this year. Top player, man. Top player. One of the the best left back in the Premier League era, and in my opinion, top 2/3 left backs if I've ever seen, play the game of football. you can fight out between Marcelo and Roberto Carlos, but he has to be in there 100%. He has to be talked about, you know, in that list. But guys, that's my 10 favorite defenders. Let me know, of course, in the comment section who your 10 favorite defenders of all time is. We'll be back. We will be back for our midfielders. Yeah, we got midfielders coming up next. We still got midfielders, wingers, and strikers. Now, all three are going to be very, very interesting to see. Guys, please make sure you smash that like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm G. We out.